Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a new adventure in coloring with CLAldridgeArt. Today, actually, we're going to be, it's a work in progress and a stress relief because it has been a bit of a stressful week in the art studio, on YouTube, and a lot of different places. And I thought we would just take the opportunity to do a little stress relief. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Christine Aldridge. I am an artist. I do draw for a living, and I do a series of coloring books, which you might have seen in the intro of this video. If you like what you see here, please do consider liking and subscribing to my channel. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. At CLAldridgeArt. All of my books are sold on Amazon worldwide. My Etsy store carries PDF versions of everything, and these are two of the drawings that are for the next book. Now, this one is one that I started coloring on a stream a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to continue coloring that today. Since I promised in my stream last Sunday that I would do a continuation on this one. And this is a new drawing that I just finished maybe 2 hours ago and did all of the PDF files, so it's available exclusively in my Etsy shop. It is called Fountain of Flowers because in my artist's eye, this is a fountain, but I've left it to you to draw in water or whatever it is that you see when you look at it. And so it is in the shop now. Links to my Etsy shop are in the description below. On this particular picture, I started coloring it with a base of CLAldridgeArt markers, which are these beautiful markers here. If you're wondering, I always store my markers on their sides. So these are beautiful CLAldridgeArt markers. Oops, I hit a thing and made a noise. I apologize for that. So I'm going to get these out, use my handy stapler as a sort of a thing to hold them up so they don't fall off the edge of the desk, and we're going to get started. If this is your first time here and you would like to check out the books that I draw, there is a link to the flip through playlist where you will find a video that shows every page of every book so that you know exactly what it is that you are buying before you buy it, and that is also in the video description below. Okay, so I think that during the stream I stopped coloring, or we ran out of time, right here at this little picture, or this little flower, so I thought I would continue on with that. Let me just make sure that my focus is in. Do a little auto-focusing. Looks like it is. So we'll go from there. I believe that I was using my deep violet. We'll know in a second. Now these are Inktense pencils. This is ink in pencil form. And of course, the base is alcohol markers. This might not be what I was using. I might have been using the thistle. If I was, we're going to know soon enough. And that is okay, because there is nothing that can't be fixed if we get it wrong. So, welcome to my stress relief. I worked all week on getting a new book out for my artist friend, Susan Curry. And I did that, and I got a video up for her, which you may or may not have seen. It is my latest upload. It's Sue Curry Presents Windows into God's World. And Sue is my Christian friend. And so if Christian coloring books appeal to you, then you will want to have a look at that. And if they're not your thing, then you can do what I'll do, which is paint out the scripture part and enjoy the beautiful art. So ink tints are activated with water, and this is how you do it. This is a little Aquanaut water brush. There are a ton of different makers of water brushes. You just have to find one that you like and that works for you. I like these because they come in a 3-pack of 3 different sizes of brush tips, and they are relatively inexpensive to use, and I think they work just fine. You can certainly spend more money if you want to, but you don't have to. And that is what I like about them. So what I'm doing here is I'm just sort of working the color around the edges and then letting it bleed as much as it wants to into the lighter area. But I'm consciously trying to leave a lighter area in the center to give each of the flower petals a little more depth. It does look like I might have been using a different purple originally, but that's okay. It'll just be like character. No two flowers are ever exactly the same. This drawing, by the way, is called Angel Ornaments and Angel Flower Ornaments and Fantasy Flower Vines. It's got a long name, but all of these drawings, the new drawings for the next book, are in the new art section of my Etsy shop. And there are all of my books are available as individual pages as well. You don't have to buy an entire book if you only like 2 or 3 of the drawings. You can just buy those 2 or 3. It is more expensive to buy them that way, but it beats having a whole bunch of coloring books sitting around that you're never going to color in. Plus, I know a lot of people who do like to print on their own paper. Okay, so once again, this one already has a base of the CLAldridgeArt marker, and you know, these are absolutely wonderful alcohol markers, and I like the fact that ink tints and alcohol markers work so well together. Sorry, I'm dropping things. Just wanted to show you my swatch book. These are the Derwent. Sorry. These are the Derwent ink tints color charts. This is I have the full set, which is 72 pencils, and then these back here are the CLAldridgeArt markers. There's 100 of those, which include a colorless blender. So there's really 99 colors plus a colorless blender. And they're just gorgeous. And they work really, really well together. So that is what we are using. Keep my little swatch book handy there so I can reference it. And let's see if I actually was maybe using the Thistle pencil on some of these. Can't hurt. Can also add a little bit of this color, even if I wasn't using it before. That's the thing about coloring, is your page is yours, and you can do what you want with it. I like to use the Inktense because I just, once it's activated, it acts just like alcohol markers in that it is permanent. You can't lift it off, but you can blend and shade with it without having it be streaky or anything like that. And it's just another medium. It's a little gimmicky, but you know, they're my favorite, probably my favorite of my water mediums are the Inktense, and they go a good long way. They last a long time. You don't sharpen them like you do regular pencils, because every time you sharpen them, you're sharpening away your pigment. So if I do have to sharpen them, I usually try and capture the little shavings, and then they melt just like a watercolor would if you just put them on a palette and wet them down. And then you can just apply them with a paintbrush. As you can tell, I am still a little bit keyed up from it's kind of a big responsibility when you're working on somebody else's deadline for a for a book release, and especially considering I had to put the work on my own book sort of aside. So I'm counting on all of you to still be with me if I if I am delayed. If you're already doing your Christmas shopping, save a little area in your budget for a CLAldridge book, huh? Otherwise, the Grinch is coming to my house at Christmas. Speaking of which, I had adulting things happen today. It's like, I don't want to adult. I just want to draw. Just let me draw. Which is why I'm doing a little anti-stress coloring today. I hope everybody is well, and that you are having or had a good week last week. It was, I did do, of course, my live stream on Sunday. And Sunday, I know, was a busy day or actually, this whole last weekend was a busy day, or a busy weekend on YouTube. Lots of stuff to watch. People coloring steampunk, people coloring Christmas, diamond painting, all kinds of good stuff was going on. So okay, so we've got all of that. That looks, I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I like the way that one turned out, even with the darker, because it does look like I used a slightly pinker version down here, and this one, of course, has both. So once again, flowers are never exactly alike, and part of the joy, I think, of coloring is getting to exercise your creativity. This is, I'm working on 110-pound cardstock, and I've just got it clipped. There's a plastic piece underneath that protects the book cover, and then I've just got it clipped to one of my books. This is Flowers of Wonder, which I think was my 6th book, 5th book, 6th book. There's 10 altogether, including 40 Fan Favorites, which is the newest one. And then the best-selling book I've ever drawn, of course, is Mandalas, and that is this one. And this is a work in progress with Prismacolors. And there's one that I did. There's a video on this one. And I just love the glitter gel pen in it. And that's alcohol markers. And, excuse me. There's one that I did called Brown is a Color Too. And I love the background on this. I did a blue, just a watercolor wash with, I think I used Neocolor 2s to do the, no I didn't. I used Tim Holtz Distress Inks to do the background. And then just drop some white acrylic ink on it. And there's one that I did with not Prismacolor. I think I did this one with the Deli oil-based, the budget brand kind of knockoff polychromos. And then I did the same thing with the Tim Holtz Distress Inks. I just mixed the blue and the green and then added the white dots. And that was the very first thing I ever colored with my CLAart markers. And I embellished that. The gold that you see on there, I embellished with Zier glitter pens. So, and then that's one that I did with water-based markers. Just a cheap set of Leisure Art water-based markers that I got over at Walmart. 60 colors for $9.99 and dual tipped. They're wonderful. And so I did a yellow background on that. I think that's the last one in here that oh wait, no, there was one more. This is one that we did that I did on stream, and or not on stream but on video, and it was a muted color palette. And I just love the way it was a 3-color palette, gold, blue, and burgundy. And then I added the moss green as an afterthought to sort of set it all off, and picked up the background. And then that, of course, is the title page, and that is Mungyo pastels activated with water. And you can see I made lots of mistakes in here, but I think it's still a charming page. And then I also used some just cheap Elmer's glue glitter and painted it on with a brush. So you can do all sorts of things in your coloring books with all sorts of mediums. Okay, so now we've done those two. We need to pick a third color for flowers. I was going to try and mix it up, so maybe do those. I'm going to look for some color balance. So I've got purples here, blues here. And if I remember, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so there's an odd number of the flowers. That's an artist thing, by the way. You always want to do an odd number of things. 3s, 5, 7, 11. But what color? Maybe I was going to say maybe orange. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just leave the idea, I think I'm going to do these two, make those two the contrasting ones. So maybe these two blue, maybe if I just use, let's do, yeah, pink. Is pink the color that I need? I think pink might be the color that I need. Yeah. Maybe do those two pink? No. Those two pink. Yes. Okay. Now, okay, let's choose a pink. Oh, now see, I do this every time. There we go. Okay, so I want a very subtle pink, or not a subtle pink, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use the pastel pink, which is the 503. Is that it? Yep, that's it. That is the 503 marker. So let me use that. What did I decide? These two? Okay. And I can do better than that. But in order to do that, I have to turn the book. Let me zoom down. Oh, that's so much better. For those of you who have been watching me for a while, and remember last year at about this time, remember the car thing that I went through where they were threatening to tow my car out of my driveway because I hardly ever drive it and it's not registered again. The sticker on it has expired. And of course, so I got a notice on it today. So I'm dealing with that again. Kind of scrambling around trying to figure out all the stuff that isn't in the budget for this month. So buy books. And so that, you know, just sort of was like adding a little. I've been trying to drag my muse out from under the bed so that I could finish up the next book. Yeah, okay, pink is going to be good. Now, the reason why I chose the three colors that I did for my central pieces, which are the angel flower ornaments. They're birthstones, and I got this idea from my friend Virginia, who did, Virginia Sanders Cole, who colors all of my covers. She did a version of this, and it had her kids' birthstones in it. So this one, since I don't have any kids, has my mom, who's the emerald, my stepmom, who is the garnet, and my dad, who is the peridot. So that's why I chose those three colors. I think pink is a good shade for this. Okay. That's good. Just 1 second and I'll be right back. Sorry about that, everybody. Had to take a quick pause for the cause. Okay, so now I've got my base of pastel pink. I think that I am going to use the deep rose. I think I'm going to use the deep rose for my contrast color against that. So that is my Inktense 710. Okay. So I haven't even switched on the news this week. I have no idea what is even going on. Get my autofocus there. Make sure that it's in focus for you. I think that's better. Okay. So I have no idea what's going on in the world. Of course, the last time I went this long without watching at least a weather broadcast, I turned on the TV to find out that we were about to get hit by a hurricane, so. But the news is just so stressful these days, isn't it? And that is not what the coloring hobby is about. The coloring is about de-stressing and stress relief. And I take special pleasure. I did watch some videos. I really enjoy, beside of course coloring videos, I enjoy watching a couple of different channels that I like to shout out occasionally. One of them, of course, is Curiosity Incorporated, and Alex had a busy week. He has managed to locate because one of the many things that he makes videos about is these car projects that he takes on. And so sight unseen, he bought a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, 1968 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, and had it shipped, you know, all the way to him in Edmonton, Canada. And when it got there, and he had seen pictures of it, so he knew what to expect. But apparently, the car had been taken into a repair shop for paint. And the gentleman whose car it was either couldn't afford it or died before he could, you know, claim the car again. At any rate, so it sat for about 20 years in a building. But then a couple of years ago, or a few years ago, it was put outside, and a family of raccoons apparently moved into the interior of the car. And they ate all of the leather upholstery, all of the padding. I don't know that they ate it, but they tore it up. They chewed the dashboard off. Basically, there is nothing left of the any soft surface on the interior of the car, but otherwise it is, you know, the bone structure of it is there, so it's really just, you know, upholstery and you know, new leather, obviously. And then he's going to have to find a dashboard somewhere, and has to, you know, find all of the padding for the side, or the stuff that they ate. He's got to replace everything that they either ate or tore up. So it could cost a lot of money. He always does, when he buys something like that sight unseen. There's always a certain amount of um, estimating that he does on what it'll cost to restore the car, and if it's too much, then he'll go ahead and sell it again as a parts vehicle, kind of thing. So it's not like, it's not like he's going to lose money on it. This is the colorless pen that comes with the CLAldridges. I am going to try this. I do not know if it will work. I think I might wait until it dries. But what I want to try and do is chase back that little and I might have made it worse by letting it bleed out, but I think that chase that color back a little bit into there. I'm going to do a background on this anyway, so that part doesn't really matter, but I do like to correct those errors if I can. Okay, so I was using the deep rose. And of course, I'm also a huge fan of both diamond painting and acrylic pour channels. So those are fun. But videos that I always watch are from the Crazy Lamp Lady. Jocelyn is her name. And she basically sources pretty items. We'll call them pretty because they're usually glass or, something of the what I call knickknacks variety. But she's got a real eye for things that will resell well, and she sources from thrift stores and from estate sales and flea markets and all of this stuff, and finds all of these items, and then of course resells them for a profit. And she and her boyfriend Drew are two of the hardest working people, and I have a great respect now for how hard they actually work, because I know what it takes to make videos and edit them, and how much time consuming that is. And they've got, their Etsy store or their eBay store is amazing. Everything in it's got tons and tons of bids, and all of that takes time to maintain, and they ship everything. Drew is the shipping department. So I just have a great deal of respect for how hard they actually work at their business, and I wish them just absolute well. But they're so funny because they've just bought they had a flea market that they normally go to, but it got canceled because of a weather problem this last week. So another, one of the vendors, though, that they absolutely trust, put together a couple of boxes for them for a flat price, which was, which Drew said, basically we know that Eric always provides us good stuff, so we just never ask questions. And this box was full of the most gorgeous things. Oh my goodness. Absolutely my goodness. And of course, so I just love watching those kinds of videos and, seeing what all that stuff might bring. Obviously, the collectibles market is way, way down. I found that out when I I inherited about 500 Hummels from my aunt, and I sold them. And of course, you can't get nearly what their original purchase prices were. Mostly because with the advent of the internet, of course, now it's like, what used to be a small niche market is a world market. Excuse me. So you can tell the moisture is back because I'm having problems with my breathing again today, which is yet another source of stress to relieve. But I'm getting there. My blood pressure is starting to come down as I'm coloring. Hopefully yours is too. Okay. I like it. Now, as those dry, we'll know better how we did. But hopefully we created some nice soft blends between those two colors. Uh-oh, I was just sitting here waiting for that to dry, and I had an idea. So come with me on a new adventure here. Let's take our black. Let's see, I'm sure I've got an ink black. Do I want the ink black or the charcoal gray or the Chinese ink? I think the ink black. So let's try something. I'm going to make some tiger stripes. I'm just sort of following the lines that I put in and adding a little bit of black. Now, this is going to be a two-step process. We're going to have to wait for it to dry before we can go to the second part. But if it goes to plan, it'll look really cool. And if it doesn't, well, then we'll know that too. And because I need another, we might as well do them in pairs and do them all different. Okay. All right, so now, ooh, that actually looks pretty cool just the way it is, doesn't it? All right, so let's just, this is going to involve somewhat exactitude, and it's going to be hard to do because Inktense by its nature if you don't activate it all, it can still be moved. So it could be I'm going to end up with mud when I put the orange on it to make the tiger stripe. But what I'm going for is a flower that will be orange with black stripes. And we'll just have to see if it works. I'm dabbing off on my bit of paper towel over here. Excuse me. Yeah, the moisture is back in the air, and it is raining. It's cold, it's windy. pen is running out of water. Or not running out of water, but there we go. Didn't have an awful lot of water in the tip. You just have to be sure that you get them all. Otherwise it'll be gray. So what I may end up doing is having to apply the orange directly off the pencil, which should give me a little more control over where it goes. On the other hand, we might just leave these black and white. But if I get it all and I activate it all, then the ink tints will stay put in one place, and I'll just be able to put the orange right over it. It would have probably been easier to do if I'd have done... Oh, Christine, you're such an idiot. Sorry. If I'd have done the CLAart marker first, maybe I'll do the CLAart marker. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay. Instead of trying to put ink tints over ink tints, maybe I'll just do CLAart marker. The worst that can happen is it can end up being muddy. You can always tell when I get into create mode, I've hit the blood pressure is low, the stress is relieved. Yeah, actually, I kind of like the way that looks, just black and white like that. That's kind of cool. Maybe not. We'll know when it dries. We'll know when it dries. Yeah, let's do this one too. This is the ink black. Okay. Now that I know a little bit more what to expect, maybe we'll just do like 3. Something along those lines. You never know, it might work. Excuse me. On the bright side, I learned new things about my video editor when I was making Sue's book, working with still images. So it was a good learning week. Oh, and I also took the time to watch there's been a lot of speculation on YouTube channel between there was a lawsuit that Google was involved in that had to do with the child. It's a Child Protective Act, but it was going to affect content creators whose videos could be demonetized. Of course, none of mine are monetized anyway, but channels were thinking that they were going to be automatically demonetized if they got labeled making content for children, and that of course concerns the coloring community because a lot of videos are actually watched by children, although clearly the kind of art that I draw isn't really intended for kids. But there's a lot of Disney that gets colored, and a lot of comic book characters, stuff like that. So it is a concern, but my channel doesn't really cater to children. But I took the time to learn about the new law, and part of it's settling a lawsuit is really what it is. And it has to do with the fact that, Google, basically targets ads. They personalize ads to individual users. Which is why, a lot of times you'll see ads for something that you just looked at on Amazon, or, all of us who think that, that our activity online is private, we've sort of had to give that idea up. We live in the day and age where people just share private conversations, and don't even bother to think about the fact that they were private for a reason, or that Facebook sells off our information, who our friends are, that kind of thing. And it's the age that we live in. So, obviously we all have to be aware, and I am all for protecting children. And what they're trying to do is keep, they don't want ads targeted specifically to kids, and what they really don't want is the young people who use YouTube to be tracked that way, is what this lawsuit was about. So consequently, you have to label your channel and individual videos as being not made for children, which means that you are likely to lose a portion of your audience if the stuff that you color is viewed by a lot of kids, kind of thing. So there's a lot of paranoia right now that people will be, because it's coloring, that people will be labeled kids and all of, kid friendly or whatever, and their channels will then be demonetized. But if you learn, the ins and outs of it, it's actually not like that at all. It's pretty easy to comply with. All you have to do is mark your videos. Is this for children or not? And the ones that aren't for kids, there won't be any personalized advertising. That doesn't mean there won't be any advertising, it just means there won't be any personal ads. Yeah, I like that tiger stripe. I'm kind of liking that just black and white. What do you guys think? Put something in the comment for me in the comments if you like the black and white. I think they're just kind of striking that way. And I may not do them orange at all. we'll see. Or I could do these up here in an orange. So let's do that. Let's do a tangerine of sorts. And I apologize if you can hear that furnace kicking on in the background. It is freaking cold outside is what it is. My friend Melinda put up a great what do you call it? A post on Instagram that talked about how it's cold outside. It's like 5 degrees where she is, which is just freezing. And I'm going to go with this salmon pink as my light shade of orange, or maybe the flesh. Maybe the R101 for the flesh. Let's go with the R101 or the salmon pink. See, this picks up the pinks, and that leans more toward the yellows. So let's go with the leaning more toward the pink side of orange. So slightly more red. And we'll make that the base color for this flower. I've discussed this in videos before that there reaches a certain point in a coloring work where it ceases to be a picture that I drew, and it becomes a picture that I'm coloring. And that's a weird distinction for an artist, especially considering that I'm coloring my own work. But that's how it is sometimes. So, and I've just now sort of hit that point to where it's gone entirely to, it wouldn't have mattered who drew it. It's just a whole lot of fun to color. And I hope that you guys feel that way about the art that I make as well. I hope that, the highest and best compliment that I ever get is I had fun coloring this. And I get to hear it quite a bit, and I'm really delighted about that. So if I can provide you with an enjoyable experience, then yay me. Then I have done my job. If there are any content creators watching this video, I do strongly recommend that you do subscribe to the YouTube content creators tools that are available. You know, there's a whole channel that's sort of dedicated to it, where the people of YouTube actually come and talk about upcoming changes, things that are going on, that kind of thing. Okay, now, so we've done that for our the base on the orange. So now let's switch back to our okay, I think we're going to end up going with the tangerine and maybe a little bit of the burnt orange for the interiors of these. So let's go with the burnt orange here. To the inside, and where that petal would be shadowing this petal. And this, by the way, can just be a first layer. We can then add more details, the finer details with pencil, or you can add more Inktense. That is the thing about, coloring that is so marvelous to me, is you can just keep bumping up your contrasts until you finally get it just exactly the way that you want it. And as Dee Dee Willingham will tell you, who is one of the finest artists that I know of, and also, all the really good colorists will demonstrate every time they color. It is all about the contrasts. If you can create good lights and darks, then your coloring goes up a step, or you can just straight color. It doesn't really matter. Whatever gives you pleasure is the way that you should color it. Okay, so now this is the brighter orange. I'm going to use it around the outsides. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh, I think that's so pretty. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to have fun now. And hopefully you are too. It's been a while since I've colored in real time. I'm usually, if I've got a bunch of repetitive things, I will stop the video and color them and then bring it back once they're done. But this is different because everything is colored differently. Y'all don't mind if I'm doing a long video, do you? This will help me put my creative brain in order again for drawing tomorrow. Okay. All right, let's grab the water brush, cross our fingers, offer a salute to the powers that be, and go for it. I'm just staying to the outside, and then I'm going to wet the inside and sort of then mush it all together. Now, if you're wondering how I am managing to use water on just regular paper, this is a 110-pound cardstock. But that said, even if this were my, KDP Amazon paper book, I would still do the same thing, because a water brush is a very gentle tool. You don't, you're not scrubbing back and forth with a water brush, and if you do, you probably will pill your paper, or cause it to pill up, and break down, because the water breaks down the fibers in the paper. But if you just tap, and it just does not put down that much water, and it is just ideal. And then the real trick is to let it dry between layers. You can keep adding as many layers as you want, but you do have to let it dry between the layers of colors. And if you do that, your paper won't buckle. Well, actually, it might buckle a little bit, but it won't be destroyed. You won't break down the fibers and have them peel off or anything like that. You just approach it gently, tap it with the tip of your brush. You know, obviously you can't mash it. And if you do worry about stuff like that and you have a printer and prefer to have a PDF instant download, that is fabulous. Most artists do price their PDFs at slightly less than the print copies of their books, and that's to help you offset the fact that they're not having to put it on paper, because those printing costs are quite expensive, even for the self-published. Because we all, you know, if we use Amazon, we still have to pay for the printing. It just comes out of the purchase price of the book. So all of the... Did y'all know that? That, you know, if you buy a book on Amazon, that the artist doesn't get all of that money? We only get actually a small amount of it. Like a book that sells for $8.95, like mine do, I get $2.64 for every book that sells. So that's how much of that $85 I get, or $8.95 that I get is $2.64. So buy books, please. And shop in my Etsy shop. Now I should say also that, you know, that I was thinking that I was just about to say, so I could buy my insurance and drive my car again, because I do not drive it when when the registration is expired, because there's only one reason why I let the registration expire, and that's because the insurance and the registration come due at the same time. If I don't have the insurance premium and I can't pay it, then I can't re-register the car. So, and that's what happened. Fortunately, all the other stuff is, you know, the stuff like the grocery store and all of that's all within walking distance. So. But here in Virginia, they're real pills about having an unregistered car, even if it's in your driveway. It either has to be in a backyard behind a fence, which is silly, or it has to be registered. There's no you can't put it under a tarp. You can't or put it under a car cover. You can't do any of that. If it's in your driveway, it's got to be a registered vehicle. Okay, so, or they will tow it away. As my neighbor came and warned me about when they put a big orange sticker on my car that said, any stray tow truck that wanders by, you can go ahead and take this car. Okay, I like this, but I would definitely want to add some color to those. So, what color? I'm thinking maybe like an amberina, like amber, like an amber color. Tan, mustard. Yeah, I want the mustard. That's the color I want right there. Is that mustard? Yes. All right, we're going to give this a shot, and we're going to see if it works. Hold your breath, everybody, because I may mess this whole picture up right now. So I am just taking some color right off the tip of the bristles. And I'm adding it in between the black lines. Now I'm not actually able to be super subtle with this. I don't want them to be too bright, but I don't want them to be super dull either. I hope you guys can't hear that. That's my stomach growling. It's saying, hey, it's been a long time since lunch. Maybe you want to think about feeding us. Fortunately, I'm making a pre-recorded video and I can stop and eat. But not until after I do this flower. Trying to be calm and take my time and make sure that I don't accidentally hit some of those some unprocessed area of the black. Do you ever experiment in your own coloring? And if so, what do you think? How do you, what do you do? I love to experiment sometimes with textures, with, trying to make something look like something else. I've got several sort of works in progress of failed experiments that I've tried. Oh, I kind of like it. It doesn't really fit on this page, I have to say. This page of pretty bright colors, but it's not bad. All right, okay, so we've got that one, which is sort of now let's try something new. We're going to take a golden yellow, and we're going to do more of the center here. Let's try the golden yellow. I think I might like the golden yellow a little bit better. And the reason why I love to do experiments is because that way you've got a story to tell about your picture. Yeah, I like this brighter. I should have used this brighter color for the other, but that's okay. You know why? Because I can go over that again with a brighter color and see if it'll lift, you know, if it'll brighten that up a bit. I have to wait for it to dry now, but I think this golden yellow is a much better choice, and I think it turned out, I mean, it's, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe my vision is just that bad today. It's late in the day here, and I am starting to get a little blurry, which happens after a day of eye strain. Okay. All right, now I'm going to let those two dry, and I am going to take that little break to grab a bite to eat, and I'll be right back. Oops, let's go with some autofocus here and bring that back in for y'all. And I'll be back in a flash. Well, hi everybody, and welcome back. It is a new day here in the art studio, and I'm going to continue on coloring this. I love the way that these turned out. I did use a little bit more of the brighter yellow on top of this one, as I said I would, and I do like the result a little bit better because it is sort of the oddball of the flowers. I'm going to go ahead and do another one over here, but I'm going to do it a different way. This time I'm going to start with a brighter CLAlridge marker and see if I can't achieve a better tiger flower result. And I think that by putting one over here on this side, it will alleviate the fact that these are a little oddball compared to the rest of the pictures. So let me figure out how we're going to do that. Grab a swatch book. There it is. It was one of those, if it was a snake, it would have jumped out and bit me. And maybe go for the lightning yellow, the 107. And that's this color right here. And do the lay down first, and then the black stripes with a brush over it. And see if maybe that'll be a better way to do it. I think that the result will be much better, and we'll give it a try. And then if you decide that you ever want to do a tiger striped flower, you'll know how. There's got to be about a gajillion ways to do it. Pencils, water mediums, markers. Okay, and then we will employ our, let's see here. How about our golden yellow again? Although the golden yellow may get lost on here. Yeah, I think the gold and yellow is going to get lost. So let's try to step it into maybe a sienna gold. Or possibly go back to my Prismacolors. Possibly a cadmium orange. Although I think the sienna gold might be better. Let's go with the sienna gold. Once again, our flowers do not all have to be exactly the same. But if we can manage to pull them into the color family that we want, we'll be in good shape. I had a busy day today setting up some new graphics for, I had forgotten to create a new group shot when I released my 2 latest books. So I did all of that for Facebook and got all of that posted with links to all the videos and all of that. So if you visit my artist page over on Facebook, which is CLAldridgeArt, there's a new pinned post at the top which has a link to all the either Facebook or YouTube videos on each of the books. Whoops, that one got a little out of hand. An artist's work is never done. And in light of the fact that I'm going to be, I can go ahead and say it on the video now, that I am going to need to raise cash quickly for being able to get that car re-registered so they don't tow it out of my driveway on Tuesday. Because that's what they're threatening to do. I'll be having a sale, so stand by for that. Oh, I like that. I like those colors. I like those colors a lot. I do like the way that looks. So I hope that you had a good overnight. If you're watching this all in one shot, of course it's the same day for you, but if you are watching it in pieces, which I know some people like to do, especially in the longer videos, then hopefully it has been a good day for you as well. And once, as I said before, I love to experiment with coloring. I think it's fun. And this is a PDF, so, you know, if I mess it up, and I can always print a new one, and that is the beauty of buying books and PDF images, is you can color them over and over and over again for the price of just one picture. So, okay. So now we have that. We're going to wait a little bit to let that dry before we try and add the tiger stripes. But let's see where we are as far as overall color balance. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Having the yellow over there, even if it's brighter, I think if I tiger stripe it, it will help pull the whole piece sort of together. Okay, now we need to select some greens for our leaves. I think that I think I'm going to do it the same way with starting out with a base of the CLAart markers. What was this one? This one was number 804, which is this lovely yellow green. It's a really pretty light yellow green. So I think I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to do all of my vines and leaves. And start up here because it's easier to start at the top. This is going to be repetitive, so I will do just a couple, and then I will turn off the camera and do them all. And then come back and we'll shadow and shade them. Since I'm using the big tip, I have to concentrate and be careful. Otherwise, I'll put them all over the page. And I still have to decide what I want to do on the skirts of the flowers, if I want to do them in the individual color, or the skirts of the angels. If I want to do them all in the individual color that each one is, which I might do, or if I want to somehow unify them by doing them in a different, different way. So we shall see what we shall see. I was just thinking that maybe doing them in the same color and then putting like gold, and I mean shimmer gold, in as the skirts might, or the little teardrop decoration type things in the skirts might be a good idea. We'll see. Let me do these leaves and I'll be right back. Okay, and voila, just like that. Actually, that did not take very long at all with the marker base, so yay. That makes me happy. Alright, so now what colors do we want to use for shading our leaves? I am thinking a blue-green, or a green that leans to blue, and let's go to our Inktense, and if you, whatever medium you are using, choose accordingly. I am thinking that the Ionian green would be good for our shadows. It is a green that leans toward the blue, as does the beach green. But so does the field green. And I wish that this camera would give me a little truer color for you guys, because this is, the vivid green also leans to the blue, but I think it would be too much. I think that the beach green would be a good starting point. So let's choose that one. 1510. That's in my green tray. Beach green. Of course, I have them all out of order. There is the beach green. Now, this is what I mean about you do eventually get to a point where you need to sharpen your pencils, but maybe I'm going to try and get by without doing it this time, just for the sake of time's sake and all of that. I think I've shown in other videos how I usually will sharpen it onto a plate like this, and then pick off because the wood will come away in a curl. Well, I can always demonstrate that again. Might as well. Okay, so this is my wonderful M&R sharpener, which I highly recommend to everybody. There we go. That's as much as I need, really, to sharpen that pencil. All I'm trying to do is expose more of the pigment. So tap that out and just pick away. Oops. Well, you know what? That is hardly enough to go on with, but I will show you just how powerful that little bit of pigment is by brushing that away. Now, so this is the blue, and if I just take and sort of or the green, if I gather it all up together and squeeze just a little bit of water down into my brush, I can probably make enough, more than enough really, color to, actually that is way more than enough. There we go. To shadow and shade the entire piece that I'm working on. Just from that little tiny bit of shavings. So this is the reason why I hardly ever sharpen my Inktense, because I don't really need to. That one got a little dark on me. And this one didn't have very much finesse, because I had forgotten how to use how to use this. let me try it again with some more finesse. And see if that'll work. There we go. Wash it back just a little. Just looking for some, some lights and some darks. Like for instance, the edges of the stems are usually darker where they curl around, or if there's a leaf that pops up over them, or a petal that pops up over them, and they're usually darker here in the bends, if they bend in one direction or the other. And I'm only grabbing just the very tiniest bit, just the very tiniest bit here on the tip of my brush. To do the interiors of those. When it dries, it will be lighter. So it'd be a little darker coming out from under these petals. Brush a little bit of that back. Okay, and part of the issue that I'm having right now is my water brush is only, it's not really that not full, but this one acts a little weird. It likes to be really full before it will flow properly. So let me go refill this. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back again, and that is a little bit better. And it's actually warm because I actually I took the opportunity to rinse it out, and so I refilled it with warm water. It's nice and comfy in my hand because it's cold in the house. Okay. Let's see here. We want dark down here. See, and then when I was able to just squeeze a little bit more water into the brush, it makes the pigment much easier to work with. So I'm just continually brushing off and then blending my colors. And I want to try and move this up here. I may move, problem is that this camera wants to, there we go. I can't, never mind, I'll just quit making excuses. How about that? I'll put it right there. I'm just trying to fit it all into the shot. And it's just not going to play with me. Okay, so down here along the bottom edge, what I'm trying to do is give these sort of the illusion of roundness by darkening up each of the two sides. But it's a narrow space to do. And I just watered down my pigment. Now, if that happens and you get too much water in it, you can just let it dry out a little, and you'll be able to get a better depth of pigment again. So if you get too much water, no worries. There we go. See, and that way I can leave a nice little stripe down the center of it that's a little brighter. Brush off, and then you can, wow, okay. Apparently that soaked up a ton of the green. All right. Now I've washed quite a bit of that out, so let's see. Usually I find that about the fifth or sixth one I do, I get it right. And if you do not want to shade, you do not have to. Not a requirement of any coloring. You can just use flat color. It's perfectly fine. In fact, you can use straight color and then embellish with, you know, like a gel pen or something along those lines. Like I did on that one mandala where I did all the colors, or all of the leaves or petals on those flowers are just black color. And then I just added some gel pen and, you know, the metallic gel pen. And I love the way that one came out. Just trying to, you know, cause the colors to sort of fade and bleed into each other so that they're not all a flat color on this particular piece. And if I don't like it, I can always just put some gel pen over it and it'll just be perfectly fine. This is what I mean about, you know, de-stressing. You know, not only is sitting down to color a page, whether it's mine or anybody else's, stress relieving, but, you know, not worrying about the final result. Just experiment, have fun, enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Every book tells a story. You know, if you're coloring in a coloring book and you've got a page that you just really love and you don't want to mess it up, the copyright police are not going to come to your house if you make a photocopy of it for your own personal use and practice on that until you're comfortable with what you want to do for the one in the actual permanent book. I know I certainly don't object to it in my own books. If you buy the print versions and you've got a page that you just really want to make sure is perfect, then by all means, make yourself a copy of it, practice, get it the way you want it, the color palette you want it. And then if you know, are kind of a stickler for that kind of thing, I do know there are some relatively famous personalities here in the coloring world who, if they mess up a page in the book, will go out and buy a new book. And that's fine too if you can afford it. I can't, so I practice on pages. Every time I pick up a pencil or a pen or whatever, I'm practicing. So, or a colored pencil, or Inktense, or a marker, or watercolors, or anything else. It's all just practice. And it should be fun for you and fun for other people in your life to come and say, hey, wow, you did that? Really? Isn't that beautiful? And the highest, best compliment, I had fun doing it. I enjoyed myself. I forgot my pain for a few minutes. I forgot my troubles, you know. I forgot my broken heart for just a second. You know, that's what coloring does for you. That's what drawing does for me. That's why I do it. And the reward is really the getting to see the work that I do affect other people. Because I do make a guarantee that says you will get a beautiful result. If you color my work, you will get a beautiful result. And so far, I haven't been wrong. Okay, so I am going to continue along with this, and I'm going to end this particular video right here. And we're going to come back and do a probably a shorter version, part 3, where we finish up the, we'll continue with the experiment on that to lay down the black and do the embellishing, because there's going to be a lot of embellishing, and we'll do the skirts and a background. And so, everybody who has joined me for this video, thank you so very, very much. Look for my sale, which will start at midnight tonight. It is currently 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. So there will, hopefully this will render and get posted in time for the midnight when everything in my Etsy shop will go on sale for 50% off. So now is the time to pick up books, drawings, anything like that. The minimum purchase price to get the 50% off is $3, which is basically 2 drawings. Of course, any book qualifies. And what I'm doing is raising money for paying the, paying the insurance, the car registration, and of course the light bill. So enjoy. The sale will last through Sunday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Until we meet again, please color something pretty. This is Christine signing out. Bye, everybody.